Hello and welcome. My name is Kylie Bartlett, the host of the Web Celeb TV show, the world's first web TV show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs create buzz, build a brand, and get celebrity results in their business. This week's show is all about personal branding and how to stand out in a crowd. And I'm so super excited that for the very first time, I have got a guest on the show. Her name is Ashley Knoote-Parke, and she's written a book called Brand It Purple, How to Stand Out in a Crowd. So I'm going to invite you to sit back and enjoy the interview that I did with Ashley earlier on today.
Hello, Ashley. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, Kylie.
Fantastic.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you as well. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for agreeing to come on the Web Celeb TV show. We're thrilled that you're our very first live guest. So, we need to be cracking open the bottle of champagne when we next catch up to celebrate that you're our very first guest on the show. So welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so excited to be the first live guest as opposed to not live.
I agree. So I've already told our audience at home a little bit about what the show's going to be about, but it would be really great if you could share with them just who is the Ashley story? What's your story? What's your background? What is it that you're doing now, Ashley?
Okay, the Ashley story. I'm going to have to give you the condensed version because it is rather long, and I know your listeners don't have 6 years. Nutshell, my background is marketing. I used to work for the largest newspaper in South Africa, and I went down the marketing road, and I came out with honours as an honours graduate in marketing, and I loved the newspaper and publishing business. From there, I went into professional speaking, public relations, etc., and I landed up being the marketing director for some pretty big companies in South Africa before deciding to settle in Australia after doing some extensive travel.
I can imagine.
And it was very interesting. South Africa has its own set of problems at the moment, so I think if I was still there, I'd probably be dead by now. But I'm alive, and I'm happy to be here in Australia.
Wow, you're a real bigwig. You've done some amazing things.
Well, define amazing. I mean,
Publishing agencies, newspapers, fantastic.
Yeah. But what does it all mean? What does it mean? It really means, what do people remember you by?
Yeah.
What sort of legacy do you actually leave behind? And that's what I do in my work today. I'm a champion for women. I pioneer the way for women in business. But before I jump ahead, I came to this country 10 years ago, and it was a challenge. It was a big challenge coming here from South Africa because I was this bigwig, and when I got here, nobody gave a rat's bottom who I was.
Aussies are very good at bringing people down a peg or two.
Oh, God, yes. Tell me about it. And where I came from, very lofty heights, my dear, let me tell you, very lofty heights. But nonetheless, yes, Australians can have a tendency to ground you.
Absolutely.
I started a business 10 years ago called Titian Enigma. And Titian Enigma was essentially a specialist branding agency, and we worked with organisations to redefine their brands and reposition their organisations into the marketplace. And about 2.5 years ago, I had an epiphany, and I decided that I wanted to write a book, and I wanted to share the world. I wanted to share my experience of business and everything I know with my audience in the form of a book. And so that was the best way to do it.
And I've got the book here.
In my journey.
This is the book.
Oh, that's the one.
Yes, Brand It Purple.
Brand It Purple.
So I've got it here.
That's exactly right. In my journey along the way within Australia, I was a Telstra Businesswoman of the Year finalist.
Wow.
I was also in the inaugural edition of the South Australian Who's Who. And what we also did is we became known by putting on a terrific coffee table book about South Australia called Footprints. And so that was the beginning of the publishing and really reaching through people through books. But the upshot of all of this is that I had to change from being a South African brand, which is hard and abrasive and very arrogant, and I had to now adapt to the country that had adopted me, and I had to adapt to being Australian. So I've basically spent the last 10 years doing that, developing my personal brand, positioning myself as this person that you talk about, and really understanding how powerful personal brand can help you grow in business and achieve your objectives.
And there is a lot of difference, isn't there, with culture, where positioning in one country may not work in another. So it's interesting to say that to look at your personal brand, you have to basically engineer your career or reposition yourself, rebrand yourself.
Absolutely, Carly. I had to start again. I had to start from scratch. I had to take it right. You know, we call it peeling back the onion. You got to peel back the onion, get right down to the baseline. What is the baseline? You know, who am I and what can I do for others and how can I serve others? And so you repackage, you rebuild it, you repackage it up, and you create this powerful brand that people relate and you are synonymous with whatever it is that you are famous for.
Fantastic. That's what Branded Purple came about, yes?
Yes, Branded Purple is really all about it's about standing out in the crowd. You know, the thing is, as small businesses, particularly small and medium businesses, we're not protected by, you know, I come from a corporate background, as do you, I know, and, you know, we're not protected by that anymore. You know, when you work for corporate, what do you need a brand for?
Yes.
So you think. But the actual fact is that if you look at the backbone of Australian economy, it is supported, something like 96% of it is supported by small business or something. That's absolutely overwhelming. It is. So what do we need to do? We need to ensure that we build a powerful personal brand so that there are 6 tips that I'm going to share with you today and your listeners, Carly. And the very first thing is you need to be noticed. You have to be noticed in business. And I put it out to your listeners. When was the last time, think of the last time you went to a function or an event where the whole room and everybody was wearing dark suits, and how many of them stood out and how many of them caught your attention? You know, I did a talk this morning, just this morning I did a breakfast, and I asked them for the last 3 months, there were 100 people in the room. Do you know not one single person could put up their hand for the last 3 months of somebody who stuck out in their mind for a networking
It's amazing, isn't it? And yet it's exciting because it doesn't take a great deal to stand out from what you're saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, you don't need to wear a ridiculous, you know, tie, you know, a clown tie or a feather boa or anything. All you need to do is you need to be present. You need to have a signature style or a look or something about you that people click onto and they notice you straight away. So that's the first thing you need to be noticed.
Because that's number one.
The second thing.
Great.
Number one, you might want to write these down. Number one is you need to be noticed. Number two, you have to be memorable. If you're not memorable, then what's the point of going out? And as I said to the audience this morning, okay, there's 100 people in here. You do the maths. After the last 3 months, you can't remember anybody you've met, and those people don't remember you either because the shoe is now on the other foot. So how memorable are you? And it might be that you're memorable because you have red hair in this case, or in your case, well, you know what you're memorable for. But, you know, and I know we talked about this, and I still spoke about it this morning. In fact, you were one of my people I spoke about. But, you know, what is it that you, as a business operator, are memorable for? And it doesn't even need to be a physical or personal attribute or even the way you dress. It's what you do for others. So let me give you an example. I'd like to give you an example for every point if I can. An example would be I went to a function. I met a man who was in something to do with construction, and he told me about what he did. And I said, look, I don't understand what you do, but I think I have a contact who I believe is the person you need to talk to. And I think you guys could be good for one another. I got on the phone. I picked up the phone. I said, Steve, I've met this gentleman. I believe that you and him should talk, and I think that you guys have something in common, and I think you could solve each other's problems. I handed the phone to him, and I said, give me my phone whenever you're ready. 10 minutes later, he came back. He said, man, this is the guy I've been meaning to meet. We've got a meeting. I'm seeing him tomorrow. This is exciting because this is the problem. This guy is solving my problem. Now, I don't even know the guy's name. I don't even know what he looks like, but I can tell you now that my actions alone make it memorable.